I ain't got nothing on. Bam, you should be able to hear now. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me know if you can hear.
Thank you for letting us know.
That means we gotta do our introduction again.
Can you all hear us?
Give me a thumbs up, something. That was my fault. I ain't even turn the thing on. Can you hear us? Can you hear? Can you
Okay,
hear?
there's a light. Okay,
All right, we
thank
can
you.
hear now. So again, let's redo the introduction. That's a rewind. So again, welcome to Love and Transparency. We are your hosts, Rodney Footman,
Chanel Footman.
and we are here. Love and Transparency. Love and Transparency is about the love part is at the end of the day, like we always say, someone actually needs love, wants to be shown love, or needs to love someone in their particular life. So no matter what state of part in your life that you're in, you need love. Transparency. Everybody wants transparency. Everybody wants to know the real deal, the story behind the glory. Is time out for the foolery and the fakery. Give us the story.
Yeah, the realness.
Yeah, because people can't get delivered, people can't get healed and set free if they don't know the real. If you always acting like you been goody two shoes all your life, then that ain't gonna save nobody. Jesus was the only perfect person that walked this earth. Amen. So, uh, I know we went on last week, so let me explain what happened last week. Last week we posted the flyer. We did, and I know y'all was anticipating and y'all wanted us to get on because y'all want to know what we was gonna talk about, and y'all been enjoying. And I just want to take a side note. I thank everyone for the support that y'all have given us thus far. It has truly been amazing. The support I've gotten so many inboxes. I've gotten people saying how much they love our transparency, how real we are when it comes to our journey and everything that we been talking about on this. Because at the end of the day, it is real. And actually, we use our story um to help others because we went through some trying times in our first year of marriage, and we just want to share that to help other people uh to get to the place that we are at now, because it took time and it took work, to get to the place that we was in. um
Hi, everyone.
yeah, hey, Briasia, uh is that I don't want Takesha, Molly, thank y'all for coming on. There's a lot more that's gonna come on. What was the last thing we talked about? Do you remember?
Rodney.
What?
About when when your mentor talked to you that time, he said that you was gonna be exposed.
No, we didn't. That was the last thing we talked about the church.
Oh yeah. See, why you asking me then? Because I can't remember y'all. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Oh, but last week, I'm sorry, I was
Oh
supposed to be
yeah, you
talking about.
did.
I
You
used.
did. You did talk about the church and how you were still like hurt from it. How you still hurt from it, and you know that you have to heal. See, I'm not by myself.
I mean, I went talking. I
You
witnessed.
did. I said you still wounded. It's still there. It was a sore spot for you.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
We love you too, Molly.
Whatever. But so um, I'm trying to think, y'all. Where should we start at today? Oh, okay. I know where we're gonna start at because this one we were supposed to do last time, and we took a side note. Um, took a side note, and we started talking about the church. Now, yeah, that was I was in flesh, y'all. I gotta get some deliverance. I had to get some deliverance.
You
I
got it though.
I had to go through my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? I did have to because I was still dealing with some hurt that I ain't know that I was dealing with, and I thought it was resolved. I thought I had dealt with it, but when we started talking about it, I realized that I wasn't that delivered like I thought I was. So, y'all let that be a testimony or two, or y'all not a testimony, but y'all take that in consideration too. Sometimes you gotta revisit them things to
That
make
you
sure.
think, yeah, that you think that you truly heal from, and truly is still there. You just try to cover it up as if everything was okay. And but it's when you begin talking about it that you be like, oh, not totally healed from it. So let's deal with it.
Yeah, and it was tough. It was tough. I cried. I cried a little bit, but don't be touching me, bruh. Don't do that.
All
This
right.
I love you too. This ain't the place. So
Oh, ooh,
this ain't the place.
I'm comforting you.
I appreciate it.
You welcome.
So, um, I think cause someone asked a question a couple of weeks ago, talking about the um
Forgiveness.
the forgiveness. So I know y'all look at us and see us today and think, you know what I'm saying? We in a good place, but it took some time and it took some working and some true forgiveness when it came to us us actually getting to this place. Um, because it didn't happen overnight. You know,
Right.
it did not happen overnight. So, um, where would you like to begin? Do you want to start
I'll let
first?
you go ahead.
No, you go ahead and start.
Okay, go ahead.
And so
You done
you,
started it off.
I,
You're doing excellent.
this stuff I be talking about. But anyway,
Well, do you mean? Well, you just
okay. So this we could start off. I start off with
first. I want to say this though. Let's say forgiveness is necessary to forgive people who have hurt you, who have done you wrong. And I know, of course, we're talking about our marriage and what it took to forgive. But I want you to know if it's been a family member, somebody in your ministry, somebody's been close to you that has betrayed you, that has made you feel worthless, even if they don't come back and say that they're sorry, we still have to make sure that we forgive them for what they've done. And don't blame yourself because everything wasn't you. Come on here. So when it comes to forgiveness, you got to deal with it. And I know this firsthand. Oh my goodness. Like, that's right. That's right. We can't hold grudges. And sometimes I wish I could say that sometimes that when you
I'm
forgive,
still getting delivered from that
so,
because I hold some grudges now.
and
I
sometimes, forgiveness doesn't just happen overnight. Sometimes it may take counseling, take you journaling. It's just going to take time so that you can heal. And so I just want you to take that in consideration when it comes to healing so that you can be set free and delivered. Like, it is a process. But one thing you don't want to do, you want bitterness to set in. You don't want anger to set in. And it talks about it in Ephesians about letting all bitterness go. And sometimes we keep holding on to things. And a lot of times I've held on to things, and guess what? It shows and it leaks out in our marriage. So we got to actually deal with it so that we can overcome. And that's the reason why we're here today and that we can talk about it, about true forgiveness. And this is something that we had to deal with
it
in our
took
marriage.
it took time. It took time, and I can say, with this aspect, I'm just speaking for me. I'm not speaking for my wife because I can't speak for her to as far as her forgiveness process was. But my forgiveness process, I had to go like way back from childhood. Um, from like why was this okay? I'll put it this way. My forgiveness was more so forgiving myself for what I have done, what I did. Um, I was shamed. Uh, I was in a place of like, how could I allow this to happen? How could I embarrass my wife like this, embarrass myself, embarrass the church? Um, I'm not gonna say I embarrassed God, but I didn't represent God well in my actions and
That
everything
was good. I
and
didn't represent God, but that was good.
and everything
That was good. How
and
are you representing God? That's
and
good.
every yeah.
That's a word right there, baby.
She always trying to find some preaching type of
Just
thing.
saying that was.
But yeah, so I had to it and it took me a while, and then of course, with the infidelity and all that type of stuff, it took time for my wife to trust me, for my wife to be forgive me, because even though I asked for forgiveness doesn't mean, everything went back to how it was supposed to go. Or how some people feel like just because you apologize, oh, it's all fine and dandy, and we just go back to the way things, not the way things were, but not dealing with the issue, but just um go keep going without tackling the issue like nothing ever happened, like it wasn't a traumatizing um it wasn't a traumatizing thing to that just occurred.
Molly, we're not even there yet. I
What
need you
a
to stay on. Listen, stick to what we're talking about. We ain't even got to that. We
But
ain't
we
even.
working though.
Yeah, we working on it.
We working day and night, huh? We working. But but for me, and honestly, it took me a while to forgive myself. It took me a while to be unshameful for the things that I have done. Like I had to go through counseling. There was a point that I didn't even want to mention about our story or anything to it. It was a point in a time where my wife was talking about it and I didn't want her to talk about it because of the shame and the guilt that I had when it came to what I did. Uh, and so it took a while. To be honest, I it when did you have your service? When did you have your last? Was it this year?
Mm-hmm,
It was this year.
mm-hmm.
So it took me to this year. Um, shout out to Apostle Tracy Carter Russell. Shout out to her because she was the one that actually helped me with the word that she had given to me, because I was like, really, I was in a place to where I never wanted to talk about this ever again, because I felt I still felt shame about what I did. I still felt shame about, even though years had passed by, I still was holding on to the shame and the guilt of what I had done. And I always thought that people would always have that label on me. Like I felt like that was gonna be my label. Yeah, that's Rodney, but this is what he did. Um, this is what he did with his wife and all that type of stuff. Because we still have people, believe it or not, we still have people that will tell our story better than we tell our story.
And they're not even telling our story to be like, hey, the footmans, look how God restored. Some people be telling the story just because they don't like us.
Oh, why y'all don't like us? What we do to y'all? I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I don't care if you like me or not. That's just the place I'm in. Hey, cause I'm gonna go. I'm gonna press towards the mark of the ha. Yes, Lord. I felt that right there. I'm gonna press. How many of y'all gonna press? If you're gonna press, just type press in the comments. This ain't no preaching thing, but I just felt like doing that for a moment. I know y'all know how like people on live be like type in the comments, press. That's what press. You gonna press.
But you came out of it, and that doesn't define you. That's
Just
right.
gonna press.
That's
But
right, Molly.
and one thing I want to say, because I've been studying in Mark, I'm want to say Mark 10 verse 45, where um with the story of blind Bartimaeus, like how we say his name is blind Bartimaeus, but I got to thinking about that, like his name is not blind Bartimaeus. His name is, his daddy named him Bartimaeus. And 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 what it said to me is that my issue is not my name. And so many times what we do, we attach people's issue with their name, and that's not their name. That's not who God called them to be. That's not who God says they are. And like for me, that spoke to me because that's not who I am. That might have been the sin that I did, but that doesn't define who I am. That doesn't define my future, and it doesn't even define my now. So I had to get to a place of saying, no longer holding that shame, no longer holding that guilt, no longer holding that label over my head, because I was actually, I'm talking about people holding that over my head. I was the one holding that over my head.
Right,
I was
right.
the one always thinking that people, I mean, it even stopped me from doing some ministry things, because I always felt like if I got up there to preach, or if I got up there to do anything, this is how the people viewed me. Like they didn't view me as the person that God anointed, but they viewed me as the person that did infidelity, or the person that created adultery. And so like, and you know how people always say, well, the world says once a cheater, always a cheater. And you know, I had that stigma over me as well, because it's like, you know, people say that all the time, still to this day. So for me,
Mm,
I had to do some counseling. Number one, I had to do some counseling to get to the root of the shame, because again, that told me up better than worse than anything. And I feel like that's a lot of people in life today, like they don't move forward because of the shame of what they did in their past. And shame is kind of like the same thing as fear to me, because you're fearful, you're shameful of how people are going to look at you because of your past. And a lot of us are allowing our past to determine our future when that's not the case.
and can I take a pause right there?
Go ahead.
And also, like, it's holding you back. So, like, we need to make sure that when we're walking in forgiveness, like, you have to tell yourself, I am not that person that I used to be. No matter what anybody else says, I'm talking to myself right now. Like, you are God's chosen child. You are an overcomer. You are the head and not the tail. You are who God has called you to be. And so don't allow no label to stick on you. And I like what you said about Jacob. Like, look what God did for him in his life. And so, oh, and so I just want to take a pause break. Like, whatever you feel like is holding you back or keeping you from going to the place that God has called you to be, we need to take a moment and say, you know what? I'm going to be all that God has called me to be because I'm chosen, I'm appointed, and I'm anointed to do it. No matter what anybody say, I'm qualified. I'm qualified to do it. So everything that you went through, it was for a purpose. It was for a purpose. And like we didn't understand in the beginning, but now we understand.
Yeah, it's the purpose. Cause I'm still going off what Candace said. Cause we talked about identity. Now we talk about we in the purpose, and then we gotta get to the assignment. Um, because even our marriage had a purpose, but again, like she said, we didn't see the purpose in our marriage or anything. That's why a lot of things transpire. Because I feel like if I would have saw the purpose, I'm gonna say we, because we both did some things we shouldn't have did in this marriage in the beginning. So we both we was blinded from the purpose of what our marriage could really do, and how our marriage really um helps can help others, and how other people can um be blessed through our, blessed through our story. And you don't have to go through what we went through. That's why we doing this. Because again, we want y'all to know that you are loved. It don't matter what mistake you have ever made in your entire, you are loved by God. You are loved. Hallelujah.
Yeah, just forgive, walk in forgiveness, repent, and get it right.
Yep. But back to our story,
We
because
still in the story, baby.
well, we in the story, out of the story, in,
Like
in,
I'm just trying to
in,
dialogue with,
in,
you
out,
know,
in, out, yeah, 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 in, out, in, out, in, out. Yeah.
y'all know I like to talk. So whenever y'all come in, I like to actually chime in. Let's talk.
She
Hey,
do.
Brooke.
Who's Brooke?
Somebody used to work with.
Hey, Brooke.
That's
Somebody I used to work with.
Tiffany's sister, Tiffany from Bull Springs.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
So, because like I said, the forgiveness process, whew, it was rough. It was real rough. And the reason well, it was rough for me because, like I said earlier, I just felt like I apologized. It's over and done with. Hello, mother. My mother said, "Hey, y'all. Hello, mother." Um, and so I felt like, hey, I apologize. We good to go. Let's get it going. Because again, what transpired what transpired was, I came back home. Yeah, and so y'all know we talked about the infidelity, and I actually moved out of the house, moved in with the female, was staying with her for stayed with her for a couple of
I'm
months.
a six.
I did not stay with her for no 6 months.
About
Nope.
about 5.5 months.
No, I did not stay with her for 5.5 months. I stayed with her for probably about 3 weeks.
It was not a big.
It was like 3 weeks, and I came back, and then when I left, I went to my mom's house. I did not stay with her for no 5 months. Get your story right.
But you were still with her. But she didn't come back till November, and it happened like in
I didn't
November.
come back where? To
You
the
didn't come back
house?
home. Yeah, you didn't come back home in November.
Yeah,
But
cause
you was with her though.
I was at my mom's house.
Yeah, but you was with her.
No, I was at my
You were
mom's house.
because you took her out on October 29th. That was my birthday. Y'all was still together then. Yep. Because you was supposed to take me out for my birthday
But
last
I
year.
wasn't. I was.
You were still connected to her. That's what I'm trying to say.
I never said I disconnected from her.
But I'm pretty
And you
sure
just
that
had
was
to
the
bring.
case.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
Well, baby, I mean, it's in the past. I'm
Yeah.
just saying we
No,
are
no.
what?
Cause for you to bring up the specific date and everything,
Yeah,
your
I do.
butt,
I remember dates.
your
I
butt.
write stuff down.
Nah, your butt. Remember that, John.
I did. That was something I had to really, yeah, heal from.
You look like you still need some healing
Oh no, I'm in a better place,
or
babe.
whatever. But anyway,
I love you.
yeah, sure you do.
Okay, keep going.
But anyway, I I I left. I was at my mom's house. I came back home. So when I came back home, what I did, I went to church that Sunday. And y'all, I had been coming to church. I was still coming to church through all this, but I was just sitting in the back, chilling, wearing hoodies, all that type of stuff. I wasn't dressing for no church. Man, I really
You did
didn't.
come faithfully.
Yeah, I really was just there. I was just there. I was sitting there. I was there. To be honest, I ain't want to be bothered with nobody. I would come in, and soon as church was over, I dip out. That's how I was.
Yeah.
But this one Sunday, when I came back home, I came. I got me a fly suit. Got me a fly suit. I'll fly. I will fly. Had a suit. But I went to church that day. What you say, baby? I was on fire.
Yeah, that's right.
I was on fire. But came to church that day. And I got up in front of the church, and I apologized to my wife. I apologized to my church, and I apologized to my pastor for how I how my actions reflected them. Because again, like I said, I was a representation of God. I was a representation of my pastor, my spiritual father. I was a representation of my church, and I was a representation of my wife in our marriage. So it was only right for me to get up and uh, apologize because I what I did was publicly. So she and the church and my pastor all deserve a public apology. Because everything I did was in the public. I didn't care when I was out there doing it. So it needed to be a public apology when it came to what I did. Um
And that right there was like shocking. Like I didn't even know what you were gonna say when you was like, I want to say something. So I want to applaud you, like for getting up and doing what God told you to do because you didn't have to do that. But it just goes to show you, like we were broke down in just a whole hot mess, through this what we dealt with the infidelity and the betrayal, even with me, with my mouth and things that I did. Like God has really brought us a long way.
what you do,
I can you want me to talk about it now?
what you do.
So do you want me to talk about it now? You want me to wait till you get through with that?
You
Like
talk about it because people need to know it went. People need to know.
so, since we are stopping right there, but let me get through that point though.
Okay.
So what broke us in front of the church, in front of the public, God restored us back together. And that's because we became back into alignment with the will of God and the
Well,
what?
go ahead, and then I'll talk after that.
What you about to say?
Cause I was gonna say, even though we apologize,
Blessings,
I,
sis.
I'll, even though I apologize, I don't think we were still in alignment because the forgiveness hadn't taken place yet.
I'm saying that we were back on track. Like back on track when I say that was the beginning of the process. Doesn't mean that everything was all together.
Uh,
But even in the midst of it, what happened? Like God began to step in. Like even though we wasn't whole and healed all the way, we was getting there. And that took God for you to get up there and apologize. What does that mean? So you don't think so?
I don't think so. What?
Who told you to get up there and apologize to everybody about what you did?
I mean, it was the right thing to do. I'm not
But
gonna say.
why?
I'm not gonna say I was. My favorite auntie is on Auntie Borders. Uh,
Blessings.
I'm not gonna. Well, I can say it was. I don't know.
To me, I just look at it as if a train has derailed and they want to get the train back
Here
on
we go
track.
with the
I
analogy.
love analogies. So like even though we went through what we went through in 2020 and you got up there and apologized, like that was a huge step. Like first of all, I didn't even ask you to get up there.
Yeah, but it was a huge step. But what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily. Well, it was God. God gave me the heart to apologize. I'll say that because I didn't have to apologize.
That's what I'm saying. And so you were on the track. That doesn't mean the train was moving, but you were on the track. We was on our way.
So
It's
I got
about
in the train. That's what you're saying.
that's right.
Okay.
We got the train back on track.
So even though I apologize, this is what I want to say. Even though I apologize, that was the first step. We still had a rough road ahead of us. I'm telling you. Yeah, it was the beginning of the restoration part.
So that's what I'm saying. Like we were on the track. The train wasn't moving, but hey, we were on it. You hear me? It
Oh
wasn't
my
moving yet.
gosh.
But I love my analogies, y'all.
Her
When you have
analogies.
the analogy, it just really think about it. You're like, oh, I got what you mean. So like, yeah, this is for the unsaved people too. You might not understand, but I want you to know, on track. And we were derailed because of sin and because we were blind and doing what we wanted to do. It was just a whole wretched mess. But thank God we're on track. Okay, so the train's not moving, but guess what? We're on track.
We get ready to board, huh?
Oh,
We get
that's right.
So that was what's up, cousin? I had the analogy anointing Lord.
Come on here, you early. You're early. I'm trying to tell you, if you don't got no analogy, we don't want to hear.
But anyway, that was the beginning of the restoration. So after that, yo, like that's when we really had to go through the forgiveness part. Because again, just because I apologize does not mean all was forgiven. Everything was forgiven. It was, like I said, my wife. I know my wife had a hard time, still dealing with it. I had a hard time dealing with it. My
Don't
thing.
say still dealing with it, in the past.
Well, in the past, you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Woo, come on, baby.
But my thing was, as so many men make the mistake of, I just wanted her to get over it. I wanted her to be done with it. Like, it's done. We done been through it. Let's keep moving. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand the process of forgiveness. Like, forgiveness is a process. It takes time because of what I did truly hurt. And I didn't understand that back then. So we would have a lot of fights, a lot of arguments, and all that type of stuff like that. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, I done apologize. You should be over this. Like, it does not matter. I did not understand you know what I'm saying, the the how can I say, the detriment that I did to my
I
wife,
was traumatized.
and the traumatized that I
I was
did.
traumatized, dealing with trauma, hurt, pain.
Yeah, she dealt with all that.
But honestly, to be honest though, like when we went through this, it brought like so many memories up. It wasn't just like the marriage I was dealing with. I began to think about, why did my father commit suicide? Why did my brother commit suicide? They should have been here for me. They should have been here to rescue me. And why couldn't they tell me about men, and how, telling me, like giving me the signs that, hey, don't do this and don't do that. Like all these things was like going on in my head. Like for some odd reason, like this, maybe it's just me, but whenever I deal with something and like I'm triggered, like I begin to think about everything else that happened in life. I ain't just talking about my marriage. I'm thinking about what happened in previously and previous like all of that just come up, you know. But I had to learn, like I had to get free from that
Yeah,
because I was dealing with
you start
instant.
spiraling.
Yeah, I do. Like I've
It's an emotional. It's called an emotional spiral. You've been done. You get triggered by one thing, but
yeah,
then
like honestly,
all the other things start to come up, and then you forget what you even got triggered
hold
by.
on now. I don't forget about what I got triggered about now. I remember all of it. You hear me? It was
Oh
all up in the
man.
bowl. All of it. All of it, baby. Like it was just all there. And I'm like, Lord, you gotta take this because I feel like I'm about, well, no, I did flip out a couple of
I think
times.
you're saying
Because I was mad.
you
Come on here, Holy Ghost, get me together because Jesus, whoo, Peter came out.
yeah, whatever you want to say, but
But it's real though. Like people do need to
so
understand that when you do deal with trauma, like we have to deal with it the right way, because at first, like I didn't really deal with it the right way. Like I was still checking his phone, checking these laptops because I saw things previously, and I'm like, has he really changed? And that was all my flesh. And even me, like I will be drawn to other things. And if a man tell me I look good, I be feeling good. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. You know, because I felt like I was damaged. Like I felt like I needed. Go ahead, say what you about to say, because
I
I know
wasn't
something
gonna,
to be your
I
tongue.
wasn't gonna say nothing.
My husband,
Keep
my
going.
husband, been ready for me to talk about myself, but I felt like that needs to be probably the next time, so I can actually talk about what I did.
What did you do?
So what I did, I'm gonna tell you all. So when my husband stepped out on me and he was gone and moved out.
Don't
But
make
anyway,
excuses.
well, no, it's not an excuse. I'm just gonna tell you because it's just real.
Yeah.
Like I was
That's
dealing
what I'm saying. That's what the
because
women
I
need to
was
do.
dealing with some emotions. Like, okay, women, I'm talking to you all because I can't talk from men's perspective. But because I was dealing with insecurity, I was in my mind, I was like, am I not beautiful? Am I not worth it? And you said you wanted to marry me, you pursued me, and you're not. So like I began to look for love in the wrong places. Huh?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, baby.
everybody want to see that.
So
That's for me.
yeah, babe. I didn't know from that. So
Okay,
like
go ahead.
I began to look for love like all in the wrong places. And in that moment, like I was so hurt. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. It was on the day of my birthday. So my mom, so I have a twin sister. So I'm gonna tell you how it all happened since
Have
we're
a
gonna
twin
talk about it.
sister.
Yes, I have a twin sister named Michelle. And so she was traveling here. My mom was having us like this special, lunch at this place in North Carolina. And so normally, like on our birthdays, we always celebrate together. So on this particular day, my mom was like, hey, I'm gonna have this here. Y'all come on. And so my twin sister's there, her boyfriend, and she brought her friend. And so my husband was supposed to be there and didn't show up, didn't even text back, which was expected. I
I
kind of
figured
figured,
say we
but hold
was on the
on,
outs.
it doesn't matter. Like that was like y'all was so hurt because I'm like that's my day. Like show up. Like you had like you couldn't even put nothing on Facebook. You like then gonna try to text me, y'all. I ignored him.
I
But
text you.
anyway, yes, you did. You
I,
texted me like more than one time. You was like, "Oh, you ignore me," and sure was like
I'm surprised.
ninja.
I'm surprised I text
Well,
you.
honey, yes, and did.
Oh, okay.
And so like I was hurt that day because he never came. And so I went to the restroom, and when I came out, y'all, there was these dudes there, these guys that came in. And so like when I was checking me out, and it was like, "You beautiful." I ate it all up. I was like, "Thank you." And so like
You smile a little too hard.
I'm just saying,
I
like,
don't care.
okay, would you have like a blank face?
Yep.
Are you feeling some type of way right now?
Nope.
I think some healing going to take place. Okay, so like anyways, when the guys came in, they was telling me like the guy was like, "You're very beautiful," blah blah blah. And so, long story short,
Nah,
so
tell the long story.
I don't know if we're gonna have time, but I can talk
We,
more about it.
we don't. Just go ahead.
So I'm just gonna continue on. So whenever he said I was beautiful, like it made me feel really good. Okay. And so like my mom has us balloons, and so of course he found out that it was my birthday. And so he had came over to the table, and like my twin sister, she was hurt, of course. And this ain't no excuse, but she was like, I said, like, oh my gosh, the dude wanna holler at me. And so like he gave me his number, whatnot, and I was like, listen, I am married, but he cheated on me. And we ain't really in a good space right now, you know.
Telling
So I
all the
wanted
business.
yeah, I was. Y'all, I was hurt. Like I was hurt. Like he's supposed to be in there that day. So I'm just being real with you. And so whenever I got his number, he was like, make sure you call me. Can you call me right now? And I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait. So I didn't call him like right then and there, but I did eventually, reach out to him, and he was like, hey, I want to give you something for your birthday, whatever you want. And so he did. I did meet up with him that day. I did that day. I was like, you know what? Freak Rodney. He ain't even trying to be here for me, didn't show up. So I'm gonna just do Chanel. Rodney being doing him. And so which was the wrong mindset. Such a the wrong thing. And so I end up meeting with the guy, and he gave me some money to get my hair done. And like I'm not gonna say that, well, I began to get like emotionally attached to him because I felt like he was giving me everything that I felt like I was lacking from my husband, which was wrong, you know. And so I felt bad towards the middle of it, but in the beginning, I really didn't feel bad because I was like, hey, he's doing him. There's nothing wrong with me having a friend on the side. Rodney doing him, so let me do Chanel, you know. So I ain't gonna tell y'all no lie. Like in the midst of this, I had some people like reaching out in the DMs like consistently. Like, yeah, like the temptation was real. Yeah.
Bump all y'all niggas out there. That ain't what I want to say.
Oh my
But
gosh.
but bump
But
all
like,
y'all niggas.
but like, I was just in that place because I just felt I try to make it okay for me to sin. Put it that way. I try to make it okay for me to talk to another guy and like the money, like the funds, like you finna give me money, you finna take care of me, you finna make me feel like I'm somebody. Like, yeah, you got my attention. You want to get your nails done? Go ahead. You want to go get your dress? Go get your dress. Like, come on, like that right there, like what I was getting, and I was getting drugged in because I felt like I was lacking something from my husband, and it wasn't all him. And so I had to deal with me. Like I had to talk about it in counseling. I'll never forget when I was in counseling. Like my counselor was like, daughter, like he can actually sense it on me, you know? And I was like, yeah, I'm in my flesh. And really I was. And I was okay with it because I felt like this is going to help me get over this. Not even knowing that what I was doing, like two wrongs that make a right. And so while Rodney was doing what he was doing, I felt okay. Now this happened in October. I felt okay with giving this guy, you know, giving this guy like, hey, giving him attention. He's giving me attention, and it made me feel good. Had a motorcycle, invited me over to get on it, cooking, you know, was able to sing, you know, this kind of stuff. And I was just like, hey, this is helping me get over that place of like hurt. And really, it wasn't helping me. It was actually damaging me more because here I am trying to get healed from dealing what we were dealing with in 2020 with the trauma, dealing with the brokenness, and here I am. This guy done came in. Now he was at church, but he wasn't no church boy. If you get what I'm saying, yeah. So like in that moment, like I ain't gonna say kind of, but I did like I beat myself up. I was like, dog, like why did I allow myself to get there? And like this guy like liked me so much, like he wanted me like to meet his kids, like it was just a lot. And I was like, whoa, you know. And so I had to deal with this in counseling. I had to get that. It was like a soul tie. It was an emotional soul tie. And so I was emotionally attached to somebody because I felt like, oh, my husband's not giving this to me. You want to give it to me? You came just in time on my birthday and you giving me money? Oh, yes, honey. Mm. But I had to repent and I had to ask God to forgive me. And I was at a place like, even when I broke it off, he was like, your husband's gonna cheat on you, and you think he's gonna do you right, and you shouldn't be going back. And like all that stuff was playing on my mind. I was like, well, dog, is he gonna cheat on me again? Like listening to the lies of somebody that's not even in church, but you know,
That
because
was
I
the
was
serpent.
emotionally, you know, connected. So this is just my advice to women that when you are going through something in your marriage,
Here come the preacher.
I'm not, he's not Rodney. He always says that. So like when you're dealing with something in your marriage, when maybe if not even just saying that your husband has stepped out, but any type of altercation or any type of crisis that you in, like you want to make sure that you have a safe person like to talk to that you can confide in because confiding in the opposite sex does not help, you know, especially when they want you.
Well, you need to go someone that's trustworthy.
So you need right. And so like I had to learn that the hard way, not opening up to people when I'm hurt. Because even some people that I did open up to, like they ran their mouth. Like it got everywhere. You hear me? So like that is just something that
I'm
I had
glad
to
she delivered from that because everything was out in the streets.
and so I had to really learn how to not only just to forgive myself, but learn how to keep my mouth shut and to confide in just a few people that I knew that had my best interest that was able to give me that godly wisdom. So you need to be careful when you are going through something in a broken place not to allow because let me tell you something, the enemy ain't gonna send you something that's just ugly and bad. He's gonna send you everything that you feel like you need and that you desire. He's gonna have it set up pretty and nice. You hear me? So don't fall for the bait and don't fall for the trap. You got to make sure that your mindset and your mentality is, listen, God, I want to do it your way. I want to do it your way. And so once I repented and I had to really forgive myself because I was ashamed, I was condemning myself like, man, why did I do it? Why did I allow this guy to come into my life? And da 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 da. And I was like, I had to get free from that. And so I had to learn, like, hey,
Forgiveness.
Chanel, even say it again.
Forgiveness.
Yeah, so I had to learn, like, forgiveness was just real. Like, I had to deal with Chanel, and I had to learn, like, that wasn't the right thing to do. Now, let's not walk into condemnation. God has forgiven me, you know. And so, like, my process in the journey was, I wasn't only just dealing like with that in the marriage, but I was also dealing with me and what I did. And so I actually talked to my husband about this in counseling. And so, like, I never would talk to him. We never talked about the hard things one on one because we wasn't in a place to receive that. We didn't know how to, like, mediate through that. We didn't know how to navigate through that. So we always talked about our
Cause
hard
I would have
things.
left.
So my husband, so in counseling, I did talk about this gentleman that I ended up connecting with. I had emotional soul tie, and my husband was so upset, you all. He was so upset about this. I wasn't even talking to this dude probably less than a month, but this is what he said. Yes, it was less than a month because it was in October.
Mhm.
So, well, yeah,
Yeah.
because you came at the end of November. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's okay. Are you here from it? 'Cause
I'm
are you
here.
okay? So, like,
Are you here?
yeah, I am.
Ha. Tama. Ilaba.
So, like, my husband felt like if he would have known like what I did just talking to this guy, like he would have never returned. And he was like, "How can you do this? How can you do this, Chanel? Talk to somebody." And I was like, "Ninja, you moved in with somebody and you stayed with them, took them out, wasn't there for me and my like y'all. I was justified everything. I'm like, I don't even want to hear none
She
of
was
that.
trying to justify.
But it was real though. Like, and I didn't
You
know.
tried to justify.
Listen,
You wrong.
yes, and was wrong. Yes, I was wrong.
Wrong. I was wrong. You was wrong. We both was wrong.
What I'm trying to
But if I
say,
would have known, if I'd have known when I was out there what you did, yeah, this pod show might not be going on right now.
so in my mentality, I'm like, why is you mad? You was moved in with a whole.
Cause
Hold
it's a
on.
double standard.
Oh, okay. So he was moved in with a whole female doing what he wanted to do, taking her out on dates and all
I
that kind of
went
stuff.
and moved in. I was at my mama's house.
2 days maybe.
That's a
But what
lie.
I want to say,
Where my mom at? My mom on here. My mama can attest
oh yeah,
to
because
how long I was there.
she'll vouch for you for anything. If you tell her that you was there and say I'm there for a whole year, she'll say, "Yep, my son was."
Don't play my mama like that.
True.
Don't do that.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that.
Now my mama, you ask her, she gonna tell you to the T. She was there and the hey.
Please, your mama gonna vouch for you
No,
too.
my mama don't cover for me like
Yes, you
that, baby.
do. And her mama was up there.
But listen,
Mama
hold
was
on.
up there texting me, talking about how could you do this to my daughter and all this type of stuff.
So
And sending me emojis, hate emojis and stuff like that.
my mom was hurt. I mean, of course she was hurt. But my mama would never sit there and cover for me. That's not her.
My mama don't cover for me either.
So, like I was saying,
What you
so
went
when
behind?
we went, I'm not gonna. Okay, anyway, so
Yeah,
when we
don't
went
talk
through,
about it because we can talk about it.
so getting back to the topic and to the subject, so whenever I expressed to Rodney
This is
about
love and
me just
transparency.
having a emotional soul tie, like he was so upset. He was like, "Well, if I would have known this, I would have never, came back." And in my mind, I'm like, "Why are you even acting like this?" But then I had to learn that men look at things differently. Even though my husband was telling this female, "Hey, I love you," and she was saying the same thing back, like he was saying, "Well, that really was a love." Like even he
You're a
told,
little loud.
huh?
Pipe down a little bit. You're getting a little too excited.
I'm not.
Yeah,
Damn, I just get.
just pipe down a little bit.
That's all I'm gonna say. I didn't feel like I was getting loud. Maybe my voice. I'm already loud. My voice is carried. I'm just saying, like you just wasn't trying to. You was sitting there saying, "Oh, because you talked to this dude, Well, everything that you did, you felt like it was just wiped away, like whatever.
I didn't say that.
But that's the way you kind of made it seem like at that time, like, oh Chanel, what you did,
I didn't
like,
say that.
no, I'm
But
saying,
what I'm
but
but
listen,
go ahead.
at that time, that's the way you made it look. Like, I understand if I was out there having a whole relationship, moved in with the dude,
You did because
and
you had the what you think an emotional soul tie in.
that doesn't mean I moved in.
Is that not a relationship?
That was wrong.
Y'all let me know. I'm gonna ask the people.
I'm just saying, no,
I'm
okay.
gonna ask the
But
people.
what I'm saying though, Rodney, is you were tied to someone too for a whole 6 months
Okay, but
versus me
listen to me,
just one
listen to
month.
me. People, what's more dangerous, a sexual soul tie or an emotional soul tie?
To me, they both wrong because they both
Yeah,
sin.
they both
But we
wrong,
can't
but
sit
what?
there. We can't sit there and justify. Well, y'all was Chanel wrong or was Rodney wrong? Like,
It ain't the guy.
all of
I
it was
just
wrong.
no. I'm just asking the people what do they think is more, what is more dangerous to y'all, a sexual soul tie or an emotional soul tie?
Well, you
It's
was,
not. It's not to say who's wrong or
but I'm
who's not
saying
wrong. It's not to say that, Chanel. It's
I
just
understand that, baby.
okay.
What I'm
All
saying though is that it was more than just that. Like, you dealt with it too. That's why it was so hard for you to break away from. Just as well like me in the
I'm
little
not
bit of
saying
time.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I just ask the people which one they think is more dangerous, emotional or sexual soul tie. It's all dangerous. I need some answers. But anyway, uh, at that particular time, yeah, that's how I felt. I felt like, you know, I felt like after all that she had said to me and all that type of stuff, she turned around and did
It's the same because both will draw you back when you try to let go.
what true that.
Thank you, Antoine.
So I felt honestly how I felt this was you said all this to me and said all this big and I ain't gonna say big and bad stuff, but then you turned around and did the same thing I did. Maybe not in the same matter that I did, but you turned around and did the same thing that I did as well. So we both was wrong in that particular sense. Even though mine might have been longer than yours, it still doesn't matter. We both was wrong, and we both had to heal from that. We both had to forgive ourselves and
Yeah.
forgive each other for what we did to each other. Period. The forgiveness process did not take long because honestly, after I heard that, a part of me didn't want to be in a marriage again because
Well, you said that for about a whole. You said that about for 6 months to
because
a
it
year.
because again, I was hurt by what she did. Everybody knows that it's always worse. I ain't gonna say it's worse, but when a guy find out his woman cheating, it hurts him worse than it hurts a female. I ain't gonna say it hurts him worse, but it's basically like a double standard because we feel like that I ain't gonna say y'all are our property, but we feel like you are ours and you shared what was ours with another person. So no, we can't take it. We can't handle it. So that's why a lot of times we want to leave. We want to give up. We want to not be there no more. And that's the place I was in. I didn't want to be there no more because of what she had done. She had an emotional to me, an emotional. Uh, Both of them would draw you back, but as they say, like men can have sex with women and not have no strings attached and not be nothing. But when it's an emotional soul tie, that's what hurt me the most. Even though I hurt my wife, what hurt me the most is she got emotionally connected to another man.
And it felt good. I'm saying, like, at the time, like it did, but I did not know. Like, I ain't gonna say that I didn't know because I knew what I was doing. Like, it was just wrong, and it had to take me time, like, to really truly forgive myself. Like, that right there was something that was very hurtful, and I felt bad, like, for what I did, not only to God but to you as well.
Very true.
What? Oh, So, like me personally, I wasn't really understanding like from my husband's side where he says like, "Hey, like Chanel, what you did, like he was just like, I just want to cut it off. Like I don't want it anymore." And in my mind, I'm like, what? Like I don't understand. But what really began to happen, like God just began just to deal with me, and there wasn't so much that I can say at the time to try to like reconcile, even though I know that we were in the middle of like being restored. Like I had to take time back and just allow Rodney to process what he needed to process. And I had to take time out to focus on Chanel to get healed and whole from what I did. And he had to focus on getting healed and whole. So I was in counseling one on one. He was in counseling on one. And then we also did like marriage counseling. And so I have to learn personally is not to say everything that came to mind. And this lady, Mother Tyler, used to tell me this is before we even got married. She would always tell me like to study to be quiet. And so I learned that, in 2020, at the end of 2020, what that really meant. Because she told me this back in 2018. And she would say that every time she saw me. And so it's just something that the Lord will always just get. I don't know, like I know it was the Lord because it be at the most craziest time, like when I see her, she'd be like, study to be quiet. Like that was like a thing. And so I learned that like everything wasn't meant to be said. And I had to learn how to keep my mouth closed because my process of things was different than Rodney's process, you know. So yeah, that really did it took us a good little minute of how to build our relationship back up. And the main thing is we had to learn how to not only just to love God and but to learn how to love ourselves again, to know that we are, needed and we are desirable because at first like I just felt like I was a nobody. And I know Rodney probably felt that way too for a period of time. But I tell you, the word really began to speak to us. The word began to really just to help us. And we had to learn to date each other again. And I had to learn that, hey, like I can't be going through his phone. Like that stuff was running me crazy because sometimes, yeah.
And
So
the main thing we had to do, honestly, was respect each other's process, respect each other's forgiveness process, because her forgiveness process was not the same as my forgiveness process. So I couldn't look at her and be like, well, if I'm over it, you should be over it. And she couldn't look at me and be like, well, I'm over it, you should be over it. So we had to give each other um space. We had to give each other time to heal, time to grow, and time to heal, and respect that because that person is not over it, you know what I'm saying, not to get mad at them, not to get frustrated at them. We just have to learn to cover one another and be there for one another and pray for one another. And like that's one of the prayer was one of the key things we definitely had to do for one another, for us to forgive each other and to forgive ourselves for what we did, because without prayer, we I don't believe, without praying God, without God and prayer, we wouldn't have made it, because we would have had our own um how can I say it? We would have like taken the place of God in trying to heal our and trying to heal each other, and neither one of us can heal each other. Only God can heal us. Once we allow Him, once we open up to Him, with open arms and give Him all of us and say, "Hey, work on me," and that's the place that we had to get to in order for us to be healed, and even in order for us to be talking about this today, because it's a lot of people that has been through what we have been through. There's a lot of people that's going through what we have been through, and they can't talk about it like we can. They can't get on Facebook Live and do a live, guys, because trust me, like even me and Chanel was talking the other day, and like just the stuff we have talked about on here, it's like, dog, we went through all that. You know what I'm saying? To Because the place that we in right now is so good, and we're so happy that we stuck it in there and stuck with each other. Because there are a lot of people that don't stick it out. There are a lot of people that just throw in the towel and give up on their marriage. And
Now we do want
uh,
y'all to know, even with us being on here, like we gotta pray, like that be covered because I'm telling you, the enemy be trying to attack. But we're thankful because we know the enemy do be trying to
I
attack.
mean, yeah, but
But what I want to say is that he will. He will try to attack, especially when you're doing something for God. He's always going to be trying to do something to
yeah, but that's his job. We
right.
know
But I want
this.
people to know that still.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but what?
I figure say that's his job. If you're
So
not getting
like
attacked,
we
then
had
if you ain't
we
getting
had
it,
to learn we had to learn of course to walk in, total forgiveness. But I wish I can say like, hey, we got it together within 4 months.
please.
Nah, it took us a couple of years because there were times. I'm gonna say this first. I knew our marriage was ordained. I knew God told me to stay. And he talked to me. I wrote things down. I journaled it. You know, my issue was my hands just kept being in it. I couldn't take my hands off of it. And I'll never forget this lady that was like one of my mentors. She was like, you got to take your hands off. She was like, if you keep your hands in it, God can't do the work if you keep putting your hands in it. And it's when I took my hands off is when God began to do the work. And there was some times when my husband still battled and still wanted to say, I don't want the marriage. We went through that for about a year and a half to him saying like, I don't want it. Like I would hear that consistently.
Yeah, because I listened to what's the podcast? The people, Ken and Tabitha. I listened to them, and he said one thing that God hated divorce, and so since God hate divorce, we should hate divorce. And at that particular time, in that particular state of mind that I was in, I didn't hate divorce. Divorce was still an option for me in our marriage. Like I didn't have the tenacity to be like, I'm gonna stick this out. I'm gonna stay in the marriage. Divorce is not an option. I didn't have that back then because again, I still had to be healed from running away from my problems, not dealing with my problems. Always going into a cave and hide and always running away
And
from the problem
people were in your ear
from the
too.
problem. Uh,
It was. You told me and we saw
oh,
like messages when you were like talking to people about stuff that you were going through.
yeah,
And
you
you was
keep shaking the table. But I don't want to say people was in my
oh yeah, because yeah, they were. Females were in your ear.
ear. I don't know about that one.
They were, Rodney.
I don't know about that one. If anybody was in my ear, or if anybody was saying stuff to me about leave, it was all because of what I was saying to them about you.
Yeah, Rodney opened up to some people and people text me, things came out, and I had to forgive even then. Like I was hurt by that too. Like it was just, and I know we don't probably have the time to talk about it because we're gonna be closing soon, but yeah,
What? I was immature in marriage, and I didn't know. One thing about marriage, I will say when it is between you and your spouse, let it stay between you and your spouse. Because whoever you tell that's on your side, they gonna be for you. And whoever they tell that's on their side, they gonna be for them. At the end of the day, because they have known you longer than anybody else and they gonna have your best interest at hand. So if you keep speaking negatively to them about your spouse, guess what they gonna have a negatively look about your spouse.
well, Lady Genevieve, I talked to
That's,
her. She never looked at you wrong. I'm just saying. I think it's just the people you talk. I just think it could be the people that you
yeah.
talk to. Even Mela Yellow, like she's never just told me like, "Hey, you need to just walk away." She never said that. I just think you still have to be
Okay.
careful who you talk to because,
Okay, Chanel.
baby, I'm just trying to make a valid point so we let the people
What
understand.
valid point are you
The valid
making?
point is you just need to
It,
be
it
careful.
has nothing to align to with the point that I was making.
because the people that you were talking to,
Was the
they
people
was
that
just seeing, they wasn't seeing it from the view of God. They were seeing it from your view, and they just wanted to be on your side. And some of them just wanted to be with you.
uh
That
then nobody want to be with me.
well, that's the way it appeared, and even like the messages that
Uh,
was sent. So yeah, it
nobody
did.
nobody wanted to be with me. Trust me on that. Anybody I confided with in was a friend. That was it.
So you say they're just a friend.
I tell you, I declare. But anyway, the point I was trying to make was whatever you do, keep it between you and your spouse. It don't even matter if the person is a trusted person. Keep it between you and your spouse. Since my wife wanted to, yeah, I was such and such as the first lady, and no, that ain't the
What
point.
I'm
I
trying
was
to say is that everybody don't think like that though, Rodney. You can't say, "Oh,
I'm not saying
now
everybody.
I did have one individual. She'd be like, yeah, you need to go ahead and
I didn't.
bounce."
I didn't say everybody thought like that. I just said whatever you do in your marriage, let it stay between you and your spouse,
Yeah,
and don't let people be in your business.
that's why you got to get a trusted individual.
You
That's why I'm talking about when you went to counseling, you had to deal with it. You needed somebody that you
that's
can trust in.
counseling.
That's what I'm trying to
That's
say,
a
Rodney.
professional counselor. They are paid not to say nothing. If they say something, I can sue 'em. This is love and transparency, y'all. This is us being transparent. But anyway, don't be trying to hold your
DeAndre,
tongue.
I can't wait for you to get on.
Oh, that's how you feel. All right.
He said he want to get on anyway. He can get on
Yeah,
soon.
you might not like what he got to say about you either.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter though, Rodney. It's not about not liking what they said. It's about helping somebody else. So no matter what, because I already know we already went through this. Me and DeAndre even talked when we went through this.
What y'all talking about? Why you talking my brother?
You was right there in the house when we all talked, so I don't want to hear that.
I wasn't nowhere to be found. Know what you talking?
Okay,
I was nowhere to be found, y'all. So what was they talking about?
Rodney, you was right there in the house. Don't play that mess.
What was they talking about? I went here.
Y'all, Rodney was in the house. Don't play that.
I went here.
Because Rodney was like, "You just need to get over it," and DeAndre was like, "You don't understand." Like I knew because I've been through it. So yeah, he didn't really understand the act of the fact.
I, I still kind of understand because
Well, my thing is,
I
there was
have a don't care attitude. Like I feel like I might need to get delivered from that because sometimes I just don't care. Like I'm at the place in my life right now. If it does not affect my life, if it does not affect my marriage, if it doesn't affect anything that I have going on, I don't I don't care.
yeah, that's where you at now, but you wasn't before,
I said the place I'm in now. I
right?
just said that. The place that I'm in now, I don't care. Like if it's not helping me, I don't care. Like ministry thriving, career thriving, life is thriving, marriage thriving. If he ain't got to do with them four things right there, when it come to us, bro, I don't care. If it's anything negative, I don't care. Don't even come to me with it. And for you people, and I'm going to say it, for you people that be watching us and don't like us, but still have our names in your mouth, we don't care. Keep talking. Cause if you talking, that means we doing what we supposed to be doing.
Period. I'll make a reel out of that.
Oh my god. And that's just and that's just honesty. And this is just a side note, but it is to me it's sad to the point that you have to keep putting our names in your mouth to
Negative.
and speak negative of us when we've done nothing to you, and it's really just to deflect off of you and what you do, and you try to put it on us like we have done to everybody know our story. We could tell our own story. Tell we don't need you to tell our story to try to get people on your side or try to get people not to talk to us. We know what we did. Period.
Point blank.
We know what we did. It just it's not upsetting to me because this comes with the territory, this comes with ministry and all that type of stuff like that. But it's a shame. It's a shame that people want to have our names in their mouth when we don't do nothing to nobody.
Well, we try not to.
We try not. I don't do nothing. I try to stay to myself as much as possible. The only person I talk to, honestly, on a daily basis, is my brother DeAndre Footman. I don't even like to talk about people like that because at the end of the day, I ain't got no room to talk about nobody because I still got things that I need to deal with and be healed from myself. So I don't have the energy or the time to even think about or talk about somebody else and what they doing and all that type of stuff like that because God got so much work on me that I need to do.
Amen.
And I knew we weren't gonna get no viewers right there. We down to one viewer. But it's okay. Y'all watch the replay. Watch the replay. Cause I mean what I say and I say what I mean. Like it's getting old. It's getting old. Just to be honest. But again, we don't care. Keep talking, baby. I love it. I'm like NWA, all publicity is good publicity. You want to tell our story? Hey, tell it. Hey, make sure you give me some credits when you tell our story. I need the credits. You know what I'm saying? And again, like Terrence Shag, I like Terrence Shag. Like, tag, and share. I know I ain't said that all thing again. You know what I'm saying? Hit Tyler Perry up. I keep telling y'all to tag Tyler Perry in this, y'all. This is gonna be a Tyler Perry series, movie, or whatever like that. It was another person that I was like, hey yo, like we get these movies on Tubi, Amazon Prime. We get the movies on everybody. What up, Matt? Is you in church?
Hey, Stephanie.
Y'all still in church?
Yes, you got to catch the replay.
Just catch the replay. Okay, we talked about some stuff.
We talked about me, about what I did,
Hallelujah.
and how we had to like walk in forgiveness. Yeah, we talked about that tonight.
Yeah.
But what my husband was just saying that when it comes to the point where people do have like their our names like in their mouth, like sometimes I'll be like, why? Like I don't understand. Like we supposed to be on the same team, but we do have to understand like people gonna talk because people gonna talk regardless if you're doing good or bad.
I about to throw up a gang sign.
Now you know that ain't the Lord.
I'm in the gang for the Lord. I'm one of his soldiers. I'm one of his soldiers. I just don't kill people. But I'm one of his soldiers.
Yeah,
But
you can kill him with kindness.
yeah, and I pray for I pray for him in the spirit. I fight in the spirit. I don't fight in the natural and the physical, but I fight the spiritual because this fight is not against flesh and blood, but it's against what? Principality. Hallelujah.
Yep.
Y'all in my wife's birthday next Sunday. So y'all make sure y'all hit up everything she do Is we gonna be on next Friday? We might not be on next Friday because we might be celebrating her birthday all weekend. Yay, yay! So we'll let y'all know. We got some stuff coming up for next year. Even though it's October, we gonna like revamp some stuff. We're gonna get a nice background set. We're gonna make it like a real podcast studio. We're gonna have some merch coming next year too. That way y'all could buy our merch, you know. Probably have some hats, some t-shirts, sweatshirts. You know what I'm saying? We trying to make this. And again, like, tag, and share this to people. You know what I'm saying? Her birthday ain't till Sunday, Matt.
Thank you, Elder Mac.
Say happy birthday on Sunday.
I'm accepting cash. Listen, cash funds, cash funds. Let me go and give you my cash out. Go ahead and sow that seed.
Oh my god. And again,
Thank you, Elder Mac.
if y'all want to sow into the ministry, we not, you know what I'm saying, y'all know we not big on this. But if the Lord laid on your heart to sow into us and, you know, help us out a little bit when it comes to getting the stuff that we need for this pod show, please feel free to sow into us however the Lord leads you. Again, the cash app is up, $ fearless footmen. Again, we got some stuff coming up, the Fearless Footman Network coming up. We're gonna have some new shows coming out next year as well too. Like, we know y'all, we got BET and all that type of stuff like that. But the Fearless Footman Network coming. I believe everything gonna be on and it's just really gonna be pod shows, y'all. It's not gonna be like no movies or no TV series, but pod shows. Also, we gotta create us a Facebook page, so we like, if y'all want us to promote y'all businesses on here, please feel free to inbox us and all that type of stuff with your business and all that type of stuff. We all into helping promote other people's businesses and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying, we'll give you a shout out on our show and all that type of stuff like that. So we ain't charging right now. I want y'all to hear me clearly. We ain't charging right now. But when we blow up, oh, it's gonna be a fee. But we ain't charging right now. So if you want to have your show mentioned on or your business mentioned on our show, please let us know. Um, we just moving into what God is calling us to do, and again, this is only the beginning. I know the views ain't up there yet, but I know that they're gonna get up there once y'all
But
start like, tagging, and sharing. But we love the people that get on here and support, and we definitely love y'all.
and if we just reach that one,
Yeah, we reached one.
we have completed the assignment.
Yeah, and we like when y'all comment and, ask questions that let us know that y'all listening. We like that. So again, we thank y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, each and every one of y'all. Again, like, tag, and share this. And again, we thank y'all for tuning in to Love and Transparency.
Love you all.